on there.
Where's, damn, Dave's ain't here.
Yes, she's right there.
Good morning.
Good evening. I'm Adam Eichelberger, Chairman of School Board District 52. First thing I do tonight is just call the meeting to order. So thank y'all for coming. Appreciate everyone being here. Second thing on our agenda tonight is our invocation, and it's going to be led by Brantley Davis. Come on up, Brantley. Please stand.
Please bow your heads.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day that you have blessed us with, and you thank you for sending your son Jesus to die for our sins. Lord, I pray that as his board comes together tonight, that you will give them all the wisdom to make the very best decisions for our schools and for the children. I pray that you will continue to bless us and guide us each and every day and help us to always put you first in everything we do. And dear Lord, please help us to all remember to the true reason of this Christmas season. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brantley. Now, Jay Reynolds can lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next thing on our agenda is the affirmation of our agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as printed.
There's a second. All in favor? So approval of the minutes from the November 11th meeting, 2025.
Make a motion to approve as printed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So now on to board comments, if there are any board comments tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak just for a couple minutes. I know why the majority of the people are here, and it's completely understandable. And I feel like the school board not only represents our students, we represent our staff, we represent our community. Last night, as I was trying to put some words together, I couldn't come up with anything, and I told my wife, I said, maybe that's the Lord telling me I don't need to talk. So, just want to say that as a board member, the decision to dismiss Coach Bennett, and this is not a surprise, I've had this discussion, but, I wasn't in agreement with it. I feel like that we are going to have to look at all of our competitive, I don't want to say events, but not just sports, but anything that we do competitively, we're going to have to look at it the same way, as far as, participation or whatever, the success. The Bennetts have done a lot for our community, and that's, beyond the shadow of a doubt. That's a fact. They've done a lot for our students. They've done a lot within our schools. The biggest thing that I want to talk about tonight is what they have done and what we need to continue to do, not just as a community, but as a district, as a district and school altogether. They started a lot of good things, and we need to keep those going. We don't need to let it slip with whoever comes in and who stays here. We need to keep that in mind. With that being said, I would like to speak to the football team. Life is full of disappointments, and this is maybe one of the first disappointments that you ever face. But I want to encourage you, as a team, as young men, and any other student that were impacted by Coach Bennett and Miss Bennett, to continue being the people that they want you to be. And that's good students, and that's good character, and to be successful adults. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I need to speak on.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so Now we have time for public comments. We do have 15 minutes allotted for that. We have 3 people tonight who are going to address us all. So it'll be 5 minutes apiece. And the first person tonight is Travis Allen. Hey, Travis, if you come up here. How you doing? Yes, sir. Appreciate your time. If you can begin his clock.
How's everyone this evening?
Good.
Well, we got a full house tonight. I won't be long. I'm not a good public speaker. You probably won't see me up here much. 51 years old, but I felt led to be here tonight. So I'll just go ahead and jump into it if everybody is ready.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Taylor and members of the board and district leadership. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am the father of 3 students in Greenwood District 52. One is a varsity football player, one is a middle school football player, and our youngest serves as a ball boy on both the middle school and varsity sidelines. All 3 of my boys have been directly shaped by the leadership of our head coach, Coach Matthew Bennett. Even though tonight I will be speaking more about policy than about any one person. My reason for speaking is simple. The position of the head coach, especially at the varsity level, is a highly visible leadership role that extends far beyond the athletic field. Because of that, I believe our district needs a clear, consistent policy requiring any decision to end a head coaching contract absent from ethical violation may be made by a committee that includes both district leadership and members of the school board. I make this request after watching how deeply coaching leadership affects our students, our culture, and our community. My middle school son has always looked forward to playing under Coach Bennett. He appreciated that the coach attended middle school games, encouraged those younger boys on the sidelines, and built their confidence long before they ever stepped onto the high school football field. My youngest, who is still too young to play, has cherished the way the coach took time before every varsity game excuse me, to walk the boys onto the field and explain expectations and procedures. These may seem like small moments to adults, but they are defining moments for our kids. Beyond my own children, I want to highlight the broader public impact the head football coach position carries. Under Coach Bennett's leadership, our players were consistently involved in the community, volunteering with Miracle League, assisting churches with service projects, assembling furniture at the primary school, helping the elementary school, and mentoring recreational league players through kids camp. Excuse me. They also took pride in cleaning, landscaping, and updating the stadium each year, work that made our facilities finally look like they belong in this century. I recognize that other head coaches at 96 High School also build character and give back to the community. This is exactly why I believe no single individual should have the sole authority to end a head coaching contract. The ripple effects are just simply too significant. As a parent, I care about participation, wins, and losses, but I care far more about the kind of men my boys are becoming. Some of the greatest wins our family has witnessed over the last 3 years never showed up on the scoreboard. The spiritual growth many players experienced at FCA camp, the prayers at the end of practices and games, and the personal phone calls to check on families facing hardship. Those are wins that changes lives. With the recent decision to end the coaching contract, I have watched a team of teenage boys question and grieve. That burden should never have fallen on them in this way. And the consequences extend beyond football. Because of this decision, our district is now searching not only for a head coach and a PE teacher, but also for a high school guidance counselor. Mrs. Bennett's departure is another loss for our school and our community. She was an exceptional 6th grade ELA teacher to my son and ensured my oldest had the correct courses to remain eligible for college athletics. She also revitalized student participation at football games in a way this community has not seen in years. Tonight, I am not here to reopen a personnel decision. I'm here to ask you to prevent this kind of disruption from happening again. Please consider establishing a policy requiring a committee approach before terminating any head coach position. Excuse me. With that being said, please consider establishing any policy requiring a committee approach before terminating any head coaching contract or at-will hire. Provided no ethical violations exist, a committee made up of district leadership and at least 2 board members. These decisions deserve broad oversight from the school board because they affect every corner of our school community.
Time up, just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next person tonight is Jessica Pearson.
Good evening, board members, faculty and staff, students and community members, and of course our athletes. My name is Jessica Pearson, and like many of you, I remain stunned and confused at the recent termination of our head football coach, Matt Bennett, a coach who has worked vigilantly to develop more than just football players, as Mr. Allen well said. He has made it his mission to prioritize character development, what it means to take personal ownership, and the strength and community, a bond we should all share. Coach and Mrs. Bennett are what I would define as a rare find. I remember the first time I heard Miss Bennett, talk at church about the Adopted Wildcat program. I don't have any sons, if you know me. It's a house full of girls, right? And we haven't consistently attended football games in years, but this year I felt the pull for my family to participate in the program, and so, I'm so glad that we did. I told Jordan to pick the player she felt we needed to love on. Friday nights all of a sudden gained purpose again. We showed up, cheered on our Wildcat, Marquise Jones 44. We made posters and brought pom-poms. For a young man. Excuse me. Sorry. Who would otherwise we would have never known. Bringing him a snack after practice each week became a highlight for us as a family. And if you've ever seen the smile on little Mark wears, you know what I mean. He's absolutely delightful. Thank you, Coach and Mrs. Bennett, for making that program possible. That is how a coach leads. They make impact. Positive impact. I'm here today to remind our administration of the powerful and unique impact our coaches have on our children. As a mother of an alumni, a current school-age athletes, I lean on your judgment to hire and retain coaches, good coaches. I have no choice but to trust you that you will hold all coaches to the same standard. I hope you hire and evaluate their skill set with the thought of your own children and grandchildren in their care and under their leadership. We do have a problem as a district. I love what you're saying about needing the policy. You're exactly right. We have prioritized in so many ways taking care of our own, our 96 locally grown. This is a problem with a double standard and a quiet tolerance for what is less than acceptable character and leadership. The saying, "It takes a village," is absolute truth. We all need more coaches who lead with integrity, who see the big picture of cultivating honesty and hardworking young minds. Athletics is merely an outlet that allows opportunity to positively impact our next generation of leaders, future parents, and someday contributing members of society. The day Coach Bennett was, quote, released of his duties was the day our small town school administration sent a message to all of our coaches that we will now have to repair. The message translated, it doesn't matter how you lead. It doesn't matter. It matters about the wins. If you don't reach the standard of wins, you aren't worth keeping. That was the message that was received by countless of our coaches. The quiet exception to that message are the ones we call our own, who are protected, right? When that message was delivered, I don't think the decision maker calculated the uproar that would erupt from teachers, coaches, community members, athletes, and even some of you board members. As you move forward seeking a new head coach, I challenge you to first recognize the shoes that you will be filling, which are significant. We are indebted to the Bennetts. The next coach will be compared to Coach Bennett until the last player he coached at 96 graduates. That's what happens when you have a great coach. They are remembered. I hope your qualifications for a future coach expand beyond stats. Admin favors our family members. To the Bennetts, your example, energy, love, and commitment to this community is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. Next person is April Alexander.
Good afternoon, 96 school board members and administration of District 52. Most everyone here knows me as Nurse Alexander from Edgewood Middle School and 96 High School. But today, I'm not here as a District 52 employee, a coworker to anyone here, a nurse, or even a friend. I'm here because of the most important title I carry, the name I'm called 100 times a day, Mama. And tonight I stand here on behalf of the parents of the senior football class. On the afternoon of November 13th, I received the heartbreaking news that Coach Bennett had been relieved of his duties as head football coach of 96 Wildcats. When you receive news, good or bad, the shock of it is always immediate. Now, most in this room know I'm quick to speak and quick to react. Not this time. This time I had no words. As I shared the news with my husband, I knew his silence meant he was replaying every moment of the last 3 years in his mind. He stayed quiet, thinking it through before he spoke, but as the night went on, I could not find any peace in it. It wasn't until about midnight, standing on the side of the bed in tears, that the words finally came. Not because I was reacting as an employee, but because I was reacting as a mother. A coach had been let go, and for what we were told was lack of improvement and lack of participation. Suddenly, a burden had been placed on our boys, the team, my son. A burden that whispered they weren't good enough, they didn't win enough, they didn't work hard enough to keep their coach. A burden they should never have to carry. But no matter how you paint it, no matter how it was done, that is exactly what happened. That is the burden this district had placed on their shoulders. This is why the tears fell down my face. As mothers, we never want our children to carry something so heavy. And now this moment, this decision, is what my son and my boys will remember about their senior year. This is not what we teach our children. Everything poured into them over the last 3 years was ripped away in a single afternoon. Every practice, every game, every hour of community service, every church service, every car door opened, and every book read, and every prayer spoken. This was never just about football. These boys were being molded into strong, responsible, respectful young men. Bennett did that. As I stand here tonight, I will tell you firsthand, he changed my boy's path his sophomore year. It's no secret. The accountability was real. It changed lives, especially my son's. These young men are in my home day after day. They sit around my table for dinner. Brian and I hear their stories, their struggles, their goals, and their dreams. They are our kids, not just my son's teammates. Through those conversations, we learned what Coach Bennett meant to them. We saw how he molded them, how the Bennetts opened their home and offered a safe place where every boy felt welcome. This kind of investment cannot be measured on a scoreboard. And now, in a blink of an eye, it's gone. Although our boys are seniors, I hurt for the upcoming classes, for the parents, even for the 96 Park and Rec program. For years, Brian, Jay, the late Shane Wood, Frankie Fletcher, Chris Surrett, and myself begged for involvement from the high school coach of 96 High School with Park and Rec teams so we could build a solid foundation for future Wildcats. That never happened until Matt Bennett was hired. He cared, he showed up. He was building a foundation, something we had been fighting for years. There had been a shift, and in a good way. He was involved. The solid foundation was well on its way. My oldest son grew up playing for Abbeville Park and Rec to high school. The coaches were involved. The foundation was solid. By the time they reached high school, those boys had been running the same place since elementary school. We had that in 96. A foundation was built, but he was never given the chance to finish it. We were told the reasons were lack of improvement and lack of participation, so let me ask this honestly. Have any of you walked in our halls, talked to the boys, seen the size of these young men or the interest levels among teenagers today? We felt blessed to have the number of boys on the field and on the sideline. This world is not the same as it was when my husband and I were in school. Participation everywhere is down, yet these boys showed up. This decision, your decision, will have a lasting impact. It may affect our athletic program for years. Was it worth it? Because of the ripple effects of this choice will be felt today, tomorrow, and for a long time. The amount of love, care, compassion, wisdom, coaching, and guidance the Bennett's brought to our district cannot be replaced. Remember, I'm standing here today as a mama and nothing more. I've seen it firsthand. I won't get to finish. These guys will always be your boys, Coach. Family on one.
Thank you, April. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate your time and input. We will definitely take it into consideration. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. So, on to the next part of our agenda tonight, the Heart of the Wildcat recipients, Ms. Kelly Weeks.
Good evening. Before I recognize our Heart of the Wildcats, I'd like to highlight and share with you 3 big projects that we have recently been able to accomplish for 96 Primary School. Each month, we choose a Cubs Care project that our students can be a part of to help our community in some way. Earlier this school year, we chose to add a free little library to the front of our school. A local community member gave us the birdhouse out of the garden that was once kept by the 96 Mill Village Association. We were able to create our free little library through that. We completed this project a few weeks back with the help of Miss Jessica Long, who is over our Cubs Care initiative. We're excited to hopefully bring reading into some of our community's homes and encourage early literacy within our families. 96 Primary School also received a recycling education grant from the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. This way, we were able to purchase and update our current classroom recycling program, expanding it school-wide. Our first graders, with the help of Miss Michelle Davis, led this recycling initiative for our school. And I'm certain that most of you have seen our 3rd project in the front of our school. One of our yearly projects through our PTO was to get a spirit rock for our school. We'd like to thank Casey Guerin and Chandler Construction for making this happen for us. A crew from Chandler Construction donated the rock from one of their current sites. They delivered the rock, and they even spent a large amount of time placing the rock exactly how we wanted it. It was a group of men listening to a group of women give directions for how to make this big machine they were driving lay the rock down at the exact and perfect angle. So they most definitely deserve any thanks that we can give them. The crew even came back the next day to cement the rock in place to make sure that it was safe. Ty Johnson did an amazing paint job to showcase how the spirit rock can be used. We already have birthday celebrations lined up for the next few months, and we're excited to see this be a part of our community as well. Lastly, we are excited that 96 Primary School was able to assist in 34 families and 46 students being sponsored for Christmas. Our students' families, staff members, and our community members helped to sponsor these families and children. So thank you all to those that made this happen, including Miss Laura Owings, who leads this initiative for us. At this time, I'd like to recognize 2 of our team members tonight with the Heart of the Wildcat Award. First, I'd like to recognize Miss Morgan Fuckeron. If you'll come up, Morgan. Miss Morgan is the Beckman Mental Health Counselor for our school. Working with our age group of students, we often have children who come to school with very big emotions, and they struggle to know how to cope with these emotions in a classroom or during a very long school day. Ms. Morgan provides a constant support for these students outside the realm of school counseling sessions. She's gotten to know our students who need these services. She spends time with them on a daily or a weekly basis. She provides them with strategies that allow these students the opportunity to understand and control their emotions that they're feeling. Ms. Morgan also has been instrumental in providing myself, Ms. Owings, and our teachers and staff strategies that can help us understand these emotions and how our students can be most successful in the classroom. This has been vital in many of the successes that we have seen with our students that are in need. Although we have had Beckman services within our school for the past few years, Ms. Morgan's services are more active and readily available than ever before, creating a true partnership with Beckman. We appreciate the services that Ms. Morgan provides for our school, and we're very thankful that she's a part of 96 Primary School. Lastly, I'd like to recognize Miss Georgette Nicholson. Miss Georgette, if you'll come up. Miss Georgette is our custodian with the Bud Group at 96 Primary School. She shows up every day with a smile on her face and ready to help in any way that she can. If you know our campus, you know it is not the easiest to clean. I used to joke and say that with every walkthrough I completed my first few years, I found a new bathroom and a new closet. Miss Georgette cleans our campus with pride, and you always know exactly where she is or where she has been by the smell of Fabuloso floating through the air. What we love about Miss Georgette the most is that she doesn't stop with just cleaning the building. She forms relationships with our students, and she can always be found doing the extra. One of our sweet little 5-year-olds decided it would be a good idea to cover her hands completely in purple glue stick. I found Miss Georgette scrubbing her hands at the sink, helping us out. Miss Georgette noticed a student's coat that was dirty. That student, the next day, had a shiny, clean coat to wear. Her heart shines through for our students, and we appreciate all that she pours into our school. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Weeks, and congratulations, Ms. Morgan and Ms. Nicholson. Our next, Mr. Fitz Sproul is going to recognize Athlete of the Month for October. Is Fitz here? Oh, there he is. Okay, sorry. Looking out over here.
I started that way. Good evening. The South Carolina High School League Student Athlete of the Month is an award presented each month to one male and one female student athlete who demonstrates outstanding achievement in academics, athletics, and leadership or community service. All students in grades 9 through 12 who attend South Carolina High School League member schools are eligible for consideration. Monthly recipients receive recognition on social media, are featured on schsl.org, and are highlighted in the Tues News weekly e-newsletter. It is my honor to recognize Carver Davis as the South Carolina High School League Student Athlete of the Month for October. Come forward, Carver. Carver is deeply involved at 96 High School and exemplifies the qualities of a servant leader. He serves as student body president and is an active member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes leadership team, using his platform to inspire others through humility, sportsmanship, and strong moral character. Carver also represents the school as a student ambassador and is a member of the National Honor Society, National English Honor Society, and Spanish Honor Society, where he consistently displays integrity, a strong work ethic, and intellectual curiosity. A true multi-sport athlete, Carver participates in football, basketball, baseball, and track, and he leads as captain of both the varsity football and basketball teams. Carver is a shining example of what it means to be a student athlete leader in South Carolina, driven, disciplined, and committed to excellence in every area of life. Most importantly, he embodies what it means to be a Wildcat, both in and out of the classroom and on and off the field and court. Congratulations, Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, and definitely congratulations, Carver. That's amazing. So, this is the point in the meeting that typically, if anyone's here just to watch, they may get up and leave because we get into really the business portion. So, if anyone feels like they want to step out, that's perfectly fine. So, we do appreciate everyone coming. So now we will begin, as everyone scales out, we'll start with Dr. Taylor's superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Eichelberger.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Eichelberger. One of the things that's not listed, but I wanted to talk about is our accreditation process. And we are in the next school year beginning the accreditation process. There is a company or a sponsor through the State Department of Education called Cognia. In Cognia, we begin next week with our training and with information on what we will do in the future. And it's about a year-long process. It overlaps with the strategic plan, and it talks about the 5-year goals and what we're doing next. So they look back a little bit and see where we are. They want to see if we're doing routine scheduling, meetings, how we coordinate between the district, the schools, the students, the families. And so we will call on our board, we'll call on community leaders, we'll call on our parents, students to participate at some level during that process. We don't have a date yet, but we'll begin at some point in time establishing a date for next year and then the goals that we have to set to move in that direction. But we have to do accreditation every 5 years, and next year's our year. So we'll discuss that further. Also, in your packet, there are field trips, professional leave requests, and fundraisers. We also have 2 overnight trips. I believe Mr. Vickery's got one for Columbia and for Furman that we need approval on.
I make a motion, we approve the overnight field trips requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Also, there's a parenting report. If you have any questions concerning the parenting report in your packet. Any questions about that? Okay, all right, and on page 20, there is a calendar for 190 days for the 26-27 school year. And as we look through that, if you remember last year, prior to setting the next year's calendar, we did a survey and asked people in the community, our teachers, our students, anybody that wanted to fill it out, what did they think of setting the calendar, what ideas, what would we like different with the modified calendar? And so we got some feedback on that. We shared that feedback with Greenwood 50 and Greenwood 51 so that the county could make a good educational decision, and we were able to revise sort of what we've done in the past. So if you look at the 26-27, the state is requiring us to have so many professional development days before school starts, so those are there at the beginning. Then if you notice, Thanksgiving is now 1 week. In the month of November, we have an election day, so that's different. So the 1 week in November that we're going to look at, if you look over in March, you'll see that the 2 days we picked up in November so we can have a week long. In March, April, we have a week and 3 days of the spring break, the spring break. We have noted on here remediation days. We've identified those for October and also for March. So those are 3 days that we can make up attendance, we can make up academic needs. So we can use those 3 days if a student needs it, not required, but a student needs that. This schedule lays on top of what is at the Career Center. And so our students that travel back and forth to Career Center, it is definitely day-to-day, especially with the days off for the 180-day part of the calendar. The dual enrollment at Lander and Piedmont Tech, our students have to follow their exact schedule. So they provide their schedule, we work within that, the parents and families work within that, because that does not overlap what we have and what we have with District 51 and District 50 in the Career Center. So it's a culmination of a lot of constraints, I guess is the best way to put it, but please review that, and if you've got questions or further questions, those are the highlights of that calendar.
And get out before Memorial Day.
Get out before Memorial Day, yes, sir. The 90 days in the fall and 90 days in the spring do not match up. The 180 days matches up, but we have 2 less days in the fall and 2 more days in the spring, so we still have the 180 days.
Gotcha.
So for the week in November, do other local districts do that?
Yes.
Is that something new they're doing, or just something we're
This will
catching
be
up?
the first year
Okay.
for us to do it, in 26, 27, yes. But that has been on the survey each year. We've talked about that for a couple of years. Let's say,
Gotcha.
let's do that.
Thank you.
And I'd like for y'all to
Vote.
vote, yes.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the
Your second?
26, 27 calendar.
Darren seconded. All in favor? Cool. Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Now on to finance. Mr. Andrew.
All right, before I get started, I'm going to turn it over to Manley Garvin to present our audit for the fiscal year 2025. We've got Jonathan Meredith, Will Meredith, cousins, not brothers, and Tracy Sutley here. She runs the whole show. So I'll turn it over to them, and then I'll jump back up here after they're done.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jonathan Meredith. I'm a manager at Manley Garvin. Today, as Andrew stated, we'll be going over the audit results for the fiscal year 25 audit. At any time, if you have any questions during this, please feel free to stop me. We'll talk about anything. I'm going to go kind of high level here. As you can see in front of you, the audit packet is kind of large. Some good late night reading for you if you want to get to bed real soon. And as Andrew comes up and when he tells you, that's going to be the latest and greatest stuff. This is, as you know, a bit stale, but it is important because it is the audit. I'm going to be going with the binded copy first. If you want to follow along with me, we're just going to be jumping through this a little bit. I want to touch base on page 1. So this is our auditor's opinion. So this is basically what we can give you, and I'm happy to announce is unmodified opinion, which is the highest that we can give you as an external auditor. So everything is good and materially accurate based off of these financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2025. One thing I do want to point your attention to, which is a little bit different from prior years, if you will remember back on page 2, we have what we call an emphasis of matter paragraph in there. This is talking about a change of accounting principle. During the year, the district adopted a new GASB Standard 101. This is nothing to be alarmed about. The district did what they were supposed to do. You guys implemented this based off the standards. So I did want to point that out to you, just that's different. That's something new this year. But with that, we'll move forward. On pages 4 through 8, this is the management's discussion and analysis. This kind of gives you a really good overview of what is inside this report. It kind of gives you some budget numbers, some future budget numbers, maybe why some of the discrepancies or variances were there during the year. There's some notes here related to tax and how that was a little bit less than anticipated this year. All of that. I'm not going to read through it tonight for you, but again, I would encourage you to read through that. I'll give you a little bit more understanding of the financial statements as a whole. Moving forward to the numbers on page 9. So this is the statement of net position, if you will, kind of like a balance sheet for the governmental activities. This kind of just shows you what the district has. And just to touch on a few things, as you can probably determine, I'm a numbers guy. Being in accounting, I like to see where things are, kind of what percentages and stuff. So I just want to give you a few of those tonight. So if you'll see cash, everybody's concerned about cash, and you have a good cash position at about $5.4 million, which makes up about 41% of the current assets. So that's pretty strong there. The other thing that makes up the majority of the total assets would be your capital assets, which is about 79.5%. So, that's buildings, all of that. One thing, just to touch on the other portion of that, liabilities related, you have about $28 million worth of bonds payable. So that makes up the majority of all of that. All of that getting you to total net position of $1.2 million. So that's positive. That's always good to see, that being positive there. Next, I want to move to page 10. So page 10 is our statement of activities. This is kind of like your income statement. This is, expenses, revenues, all of that. So I just stated your total net position was an increase. So for the year, the net change in net position was about $737,000. So again, that's good. Anytime you can increase that's a good day. You'll also see the restatement that I talked about based off the GASB that was implemented. You'll see that at the bottom of this as well. Again, that's nothing to be alarmed about. That is something that was done properly by the district. Any questions so far? Alrighty. Next, I just want to touch on page 12. So this is the balance sheet, talking about the funds. I don't want to get in too much accounting lingo there, but overall, and as a whole, your total fund balance is about $11.5 million, with a lot of that being, and the majority of that being in the general fund. We'll go on once we get further into it and just see kind of how that was made up and how the funds did during the year. We'll see that here on page 13. So as you can see, during the year, there was about a $1.1 million decrease in your general fund balance, but you are still at a fund balance of about $5.3 million. So that's still good. I've got another packet. We'll kind of dive a little bit deeper into the general fund and things like that. So still good there. Alrighty, next page, moving to page 15. So this is where the notes of the financial statements start. This is talking about accounting policies. It just really gets into the weeds here, the nitty-gritty of what makes up these financial statements. I'm not going to read that as much as y'all would really like for me to read that to you tonight, but I'm not going to get into that. But I do think that, as board members, it's important that you read that and kind of understand the policies that make up these financial statements and the implications that might have on the district as well. With that being said, I'm going to be mindful of your time, and I want to go all the way to page 71. So during the audit process, we issued 3 different opinions. One was the financial statements, as I said, that was unmodified. The next is over the government auditing standards. So here we do a lot of testing of internal controls, making sure that everything that you say is being done is actually being done, making sure everything's accounted for, and everything's good. I'm happy to announce everything checked out there. So there was an unmodified opinion on that as well. And moving to page 73, this is over uniform guidance. So what that is y'all receive federal funding. So we do something called a single audit. And a single audit is we go in and we test these federal funds. As you know, there's regulations surrounding these funds. There's different reporting that needs to go on. We go in, ensure everything's good, that everything's accounted for the way the government would like it to be accounted for. So that was also an unmodified opinion. So you went 3 for 3 this year, which is great. One thing I did want to point out to you, just if you get into reading this and if you get, away from this meeting and kind of had a question about it, you'll note that the audit report is dated December 8th, and a lot of times it's dated before December 1st because that's the initial deadline. During the year, the federal government was a little late in releasing their compliance supplement, which we use to test our single audit. So again, there's nothing to be alarmed about that was dated the 8th. We were given an extension. This was nationwide. So again, if you're just reading that, I didn't want that to jump off the page without explaining that to you. Are there any questions over these financial statements? All right. Well, moving on. I want to move on to this smaller little 3-page staple. You should have it in front of you. This is just kind of a little summary we put together. Just kind of, again, you know, saying the unmodified, clean opinion, things of that nature. I want to turn your attention to the 3rd page. As I said, we would talk a little bit further about the general fund and kind of where you stand on that and what kind of sticks out. So the GFOA recommends that you have at least 2 months worth of operating expenditures and fund balance. This is just to have that, you know, just as a safety net to make sure that if anything catastrophic were to happen, you are still covered for a few months. So if you'll see here, you have almost 4 months of operating expenditures in your general fund balance as of June 30, 2025. So you're above that. You know, as always, you know, as humans, we'd like to see that a little higher. Everybody likes to see everything higher, but for here, this is great. If you're above the 2 months, you don't, you know, that's fantastic. You know, you can see the trend analysis of the years prior. You know, just with renovations and all of that, and what the district has done in improvements, you'll see that number went down just ever so slightly. But that's, again, nothing to be alarmed about. You know, as you can see, your general fund budget that was passed is still good and all of that. Any questions there on this packet before I get to the last one? Alrighty. So the last packet you have in front of you, this is what we call our SAS 114 or year-end board report. So if you'll remember back in the early 2000s with the WorldCom Enrons, you know, accounting snafus, what they were finding was management was talking to the auditors, and then management was telling the board everything's good, but the board was not talking to the auditors. So that's kind of what brought this report out. If you'll see, we have some contact information on the front of this. Josh Garvin, he is our auditing shareholder, and then Luke Vickery, who is a senior manager with us. We always say that it's very important for the board to reach out to the auditors if you have any sort of questions, anything. We like to say we're not going to come in here once a year, and we don't want to just come in once a year, do the audit, and then leave. Right? We want to be part of a team here. You know, if we can help you in any way, if you have anything that, you know, you might question, or even if it's something small, I want you to know and want you to hear loud and clear that we're here to answer that and to talk to you about anything you might have there. What this is also just like a plain English version of the audit process. This talks about how there's estimates built into financial statements, how it has materiality and what that is, how that's calculated. If there were any findings or anything that we, you know, maybe we didn't think was a finding, needed to be in a letter and addressed, that would also be in this. I'm happy to announce there was nothing that we noted during the course of our audit to where we thought we needed to let anybody know to change things up there. So again, the biggest thing about this, and I do encourage you to read it again, it's just tells you about the audit and that we're here for you, you know, to go through the year, and hope you know that. So with that, any questions? If not, I know y'all have some business to tend to, so we'll get out of your hair.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Back to Andrew.
All right, thanks, Jonathan. Oh, Bob. All right, thanks, guys. Just to add a little bit of clarification to that, on that, you know, he mentioned the general fund went down by about $1 million. That's from Fuji. You know, from our budgeted expectations of that negative impact of Fuji closing, actual was about $1.8 million more than we expected. So if we had that $1.8 million, our general fund would be in really good shape, but we don't. But, you know, we've been aware of that issue and we've got plans for it. So just wanted to clarify that a little bit. I'll move on to our monthly financial update. As of November 30th, our revenue is general fund revenue is about $3.2 million. That does not include any of our November tax revenue yet. County reports that 15th of the following month. Typically in November, we get our Tier 1 reimbursement, which is just the property tax reimbursement. It's $244,000 every year. So we'll get that on top of our additional regular property taxes. So I anticipate our revenue jumping up closer to that mark we were at last year, about $4.24 million. Our expenses at this time are about $5.9 million. I say this a lot, don't be alarmed that expenses are exceeding revenue at this point. We get the majority of our revenue in January when property tax bills are paid. So we should see that flip here in the next couple months, hopefully. But yeah, our expenses, we're doing a good job monitoring those. They're trending overall under budget. If you look at this 5-year comparison, typically from year to year with the pay increases that we try to do every year, our expenses jump about $300,000 to $400,000 from year to year. This year to last year we were about $5.8 million. So that sort of shows you that our expenses, yes, they are more than they were prior years, but we are controlling them. So that should bode well going forward. Are there any questions on our monthly financials? If not, I'll move on to capital projects. So we're still working on our second phase of classroom furniture. Kelly is meeting with her teachers to finalize their teacher desks and storage needs. The primary school has no built-in storage or anything like that, so they have a lot of needs on storage that they're working through. The elementary school, on the other hand, has a lot of nice built-in cabinets, so they don't need as much storage. So they're looking at pulling back some of the storage furniture pieces that were included in the original quote and adding some media center furniture. Yeah, Jay, I'm sure you appreciate that, Jay. So yeah, we're still working through those, but we should hopefully get those wrapped up and finalized pretty soon. The digital marquees, the signs at the schools, I told you guys that the elementary school sign needed to be fully replaced, and that was going to be about $40,000. I was hoping that the other 3 schools were going to be a little bit cheaper because we could use the existing infrastructure. The quote I got on middle school, high school, those were also about $30,000 to $40,000, even using our existing monument, which is fine. I mean, we've got that $40,000 number budgeted for all 4 schools. I was just hoping to come a little under budget, but we will have to bid that project out because of those dollar amounts. It'll put us over our threshold. So we'll get that bid package ready and put that out pretty soon. We're trying to get our district office painted. I have one quote from Mike Duckett, local 96 boy, and I'm awaiting 2 more. We'll need 3 quotes for that. And then our White House demolition. Our White House is a little smaller, but I'm scheduling that with SIDS, who is the company that did the demolition and abatement of our old high school project. So hopefully they'll be able to get to that pretty soon. We haven't talked about this for a while. This is one of the Dr. Green's last things he wanted to do was to add bleachers for the track out here. We haven't moved forward with that yet because they need a concrete pad. Hood actually owes us some work because we covered a bill for them, so we're just trading that out for work. They're going to be out here pouring a concrete pad sometime January, February. So once we get that, we'll get the track bleachers that were approved many months ago. PA systems, Mac probably has an update on the grant. I think Mac will tell you. But we'll get PA systems at the school, new PA systems at the schools. Are there any other questions on capital projects? If not, I would like to address.
You don't have to.
One small detail. For For those of you who don't know, I'm sure everyone does, it was on Facebook, so that's how everyone gets news. But I've been named the new Assistant Superintendent for Business at Greenwood School District 50. This was a really tough decision for me. I wrestled with it all throughout the Thanksgiving break. My wife really loved it, being home for 3 days and just being in my head the whole time. Just went back and forth constantly. I talked to one of my really good friends about it, and he had told me, look, you've got 2 great jobs. Whether you take 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months, you won't have a definitive answer. You're just going to have to pick one. And so I chose the Greenwood job. Time will tell if that's the right decision or not. No one predicts the future. I definitely can. I've never won a March Madness bracket pool in my life. So we'll see. Hopefully this works out better. No one, like I said, no one predicts the future. I have no idea where I'll be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I got a lot of years left I need to work. I've got 3 small children. They're expensive. So, my goal is, since I don't know where I'll be in the future, is to just take everything one day at a time, try to be better today than I was yesterday, better tomorrow than I was today. If I can keep doing that, I'll be ready for whatever the future has for me. In my time here at 96, we go to all kinds of meetings throughout the state with other finance directors and some of the bigger districts. They'd get to talking about things, and it'd be like, those are big district problems. Those aren't my problems. I'm glad I don't have those problems. But as I thought about it, some of those problems and challenges that bigger districts have are actually sort of what was appealing about the Greenwood job for me. Managing a budget that size, having to budget for 16 different schools. There's all kinds of rules about maintaining equity between schools. There's some more complexities there. Their bond debt situations got some added complexities to it. So there's just some other things that Greenwood job offered me, ability, the chance to get more experience, to learn more, to continue improving. And so that's really what led me to choosing that job. That being said, I've really loved my time in 96, and I've learned a ton. I've gotten a ton of experience. I would not get this Greenwood job without being here. I just want to thank everybody, Dr. Taylor, the board, all the principals, directors, for trusting me and supporting me to do this job. I'm proud to be a part of this district and proud of all of our accomplishments. We've got this old high school done. We've got this multiplex now. We've gotten a bunch of other projects done. We've continued to give raises to all staff members, no matter what the budget challenges were. I have no direct contact with students on instruction, but I do take pride in the fact that our test scores are always really good. We always have these smart kids up here with perfect test scores. I'm really proud to have been a part of this district. It's really been an honor to work here, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much. You've always, since I've been a part of the board, you've always done a wonderful job, and really proud of you and proud of all you've accomplished. And I know you're going to continue to do great things, and I appreciate the praise of our district, and we look forward to hearing those updates, and maybe you can find some money that they're getting that we should get, who knows? But no, thank you very much. Great job. So now on to safety with Mr. Mack.
All right, good evening. All right, in your packet, you'll see the report for November. Primary school had 1 with information, elementary school 1 with a larceny, middle school 0, high school had 3, 1 field contact, 1 assault, 1 animal complaint. Seems like we're getting a lot of animal complaints nowadays. Alternative school 0, transportation 1 with a stop arm violation. The baseball field, softball field 0. Multiplex had 4, 3 open doors and 1 escort. I'm in the process of trying to figure out those open door issues. So I'll update y'all next month on that. District office 0, that gives us 10 for the month, which is up 6 from 4 last month, down 1 from 11 this time last year. All schools did their fire drills. All schools had their yearly inspections. I'm in the process right now trying to decipher their new form, which is it's a task. Tornado drill, primary school did that. Elementary, middle, and high did their active intruder drills, and you see the 2 weapons detections that the middle school did down there, one in the car line and then a couple classrooms. Information and updates, like Angie pointed to earlier, give you an update about the school safety or Safe Schools funding grant. This past November on the 4th, the state board did vote and unanimously approve $19,427,833 out of more than $85 million requested by districts statewide, which means with this vote, our district was awarded 100% of our requested amount of $289,477. This grant will fund new public announcement systems for the middle school, high school complex, and we hope to get that. We hope to get the funding, or at least the award letter, in a couple weeks or early next month, because they're going to be shut down for Christmas. But hopefully, about January is usually when we get it. But yeah, any questions?
No, that's great news. Thank you for sharing with that. Make sure Andrew gets right on that before he goes anywhere, though.
Yeah. I'll see to that. Actually, he's not going anywhere until that's done.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Mac, for
You're
getting
welcome.
that grant. That's tremendous.
that's amazing. Great job. So policies, start with Ms. Kathy.
Yes.
Good evening. I bring before you a couple policies for second reading this month. Policy IC, which is school year policy. Policy EF, food services. Policy JICJA, social media and electronic devices. Policy ECAH, use of unmanned aircraft drones. And policy IJND, AI responsible use. The only comment that we had after first reading was Mr. Carter's comment about wanting the numbers adjusted in the drone policy.
Or just to match whatever, I still don't know how much it's supposed to be.
Okay. I changed them from what was in the model to what you had requested, so that's what we have. If you want me to go back to what was in the model, we can do that, but that was the only comment.
Well, the
that
only
I had.
discrepancy was they just didn't match. You had different,
Okay.
you had different numbers.
One was 55 and one was .55.
Yeah.
Or
Or something.
5.5.
Yeah.
It just, the decimal was in different places and I don't know which one's right.
Okay,
So it could be 5.5 or .55.
well,
I
I'll
don't
look
know
back
that-
at the legislative update, and it was verbatim what was in there, so we might have a problem with what was in the model itself.
But they might have messed up.
I made those changes for you, to make them match, and so those changes are in there. And those were the only other questions that I received in the 30-day period between the first and second readings where we are. So I'll entertain if you have any other questions on policies at this time of the second reading. And if there are no other questions, I'll look for a motion.
Well, I guess my question is, if it's not right now.
If you want me to pull that one out
I
and
don't
go
know.
back
I
to the
mean,
legislative update
sure-
again
I'm
and
sure it
call
really-
down there, I'll be glad to do that.
I'm sure it really doesn't matter. I'm sure it's just a typo, but I don't.
I think it might be
Can we not
Yeah, I
table
think
that
we
one?
had decided, and we talked about it later.
Yeah.
And so there was places that said .55, and there was places that said 55. And we
Yeah.
said, well, we just need to make a match, whichever's right.
Yeah.
And now I think we moved them all, well, now they're all wrong.
See, we changed that one.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
I would say it's 55
Probably.
pounds, but
Well,
I
we
think
thought
it's
that too,
0.55.
but we looked up something later, and something else
Yeah.
made us think it was .55.
I was looking.
All right, so why
let's
don't we,
table that one.
Let's
why don't
table
you
that.
let me pull that one out?
Okay.
And I will, call Janine tomorrow and see what she knows about this. And if not, then I will go to the school board's attorney and press for an answer there. And bring that back next month for clarification after we get that.
Sounds good.
I
Okay?
just feel like we're probably, if we're gonna do it, just make sure it's right.
Yeah.
So,
Understood.
Right.
Understood.
And that's for the drone, right?
that's the drone.
That is the drone, ECAH.
So I make a motion to approve policy IC, policy EF, policy JICJA, and policy IJND. I make a motion to approve those and motion to table, well, does that need to be a separate motion or included in the same motion? Or just ignore it?
Just ignore it and leave it out. I know what you want me to do, and I'll bring it back next
Is there
time.
a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay? Move on to personnel.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. In your board packets tonight, starting on page 66, you have two candidates that I'm bringing before you. They are both certified candidates for positions. You have candidate A, who will be a high-intensity tutor at the elementary school, if you approve that hire. And you have a recommendation for a science teacher for 96 High School. We've had a science position that's been open since the fall of last year. And this position on candidate B would start for the coming school year, 26-27, July 1. The HIT tutor would start immediately. So take a look at those, and I'm seeking approval for those two candidates.
I make a motion that we move forward with hiring candidate A and B.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Thank you.
The board has approved as candidate A, Tara Ramsey. Ms. Tara Ramsey will be a high-intensity tutor at 96 Elementary School, and she will start after the winter break holidays and go as long as she can during that time for tutoring. Candidate B is Olivia Ashley. Olivia will replace John Shaw as a science teacher at 96 High School. Ms. Ashley will become under contract for the 26-27 school year. All right, so last time I was before you, we talked about letters of intent going out, and they did go out December 1st. They're due back on Friday, but we're already having some movement with some positions. So I want to go over with you the resignations, and I want to go over with you the retirements that we know of and any new hires that we may have left out there. Okay, so we have the resignation of Matthew Bennett from his teaching position. We have the resignation of Jordan Bennett, and these are both effective at the end of the school year. Miss Bennett's job as a guidance counselor has been advertised. It's still out there. We'll take a look at the end of next week to see what kind of applicants we have, and we may have to extend that a little deeper in order to get a good applicant pool. We also have a resignation from Andrew Mackey that he spoke to you about. That job is out there. Mr. Mackey will finish up his bureau contract with us before winter break, and I think he'll come back and force some after that. But his job is out there too as Director of Finance. At this point in time, we have not advertised Mr. Bennett's teaching job yet. We're just waiting for some direction with that. To retire at the end of year, Dre Bomberger, who is in culinary arts, has indicated she would like to retire effective the end of this school year. And that's not retire and return, that's retire. So that one is in status of limbo as well. We have Danny Ballantyne in the District Maintenance Department. He has indicated today that he would like to retire, officially retire, not retire and return, at the end of June of this school year. All right, in addition to that, Dr. Taylor, by board policy, can approve classified hires. Those are folks that are not certified. And so Dr. Taylor has approved this month the hiring of Daniel Barnett as a special education teaching assistant at 96 High School. All right, and I think we've been over Olivia and we've been over Tara. So that's kind of where we are. So in the next couple of weeks, you will see as those letters of intent come back, you will see other jobs be posted if there are others, and you will see that employment page begin to do whatever it's going to do, grow or decrease. And so we are real fortunate, and I think, to have hired the folks that we hired tonight. I think both of them are going to bring a lot to the students in our district at their particular locations that they've been hired for. So that concludes my report, unless you have any other questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, appreciate everyone being here tonight. Any other comments or ready to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. At one point, I was about to say something. It was just finger pointing out that was not to be necessary. But,